As soon as it goes live, you let me know. Looks like it should be now. Look at that. Now we're live over here. Instagram too, bro. Let's rock and roll. I think we got this thing. All right. Hey, welcome everybody. It is the Patrick Carr Show, bringing it to you here on the day before a big holiday, a Saturday, July the 4th. Now, behind the scenes, I've got a very special person here for you. Mr. Russell is behind the scenes. Anthony is not here today, playing producer. Russell, thank you very much for being here today, brother. Man, Russell, if y'all don't know, Russell goes back to me for a long time. When we first started this show like 4 years ago, before we stopped it for a number of years, this was a different version back then, right, Russell? It was boring. And we were interviewing contractors all the time. And Russell, like his first day at work, for those of you who don't know, his first day, we took him to a conference. And he had to sit there for 2 days of a roofing contractor conference and listen to roofing contractors talk about their business with me. The show at the time was called The Contractor Connection, or it might have been the Patrick Carr Show at that time too. And man, was that show boring. I mean, you had to sit there and listen to it all. You must have just been thinking, what the heck am I doing here? I don't think anybody does, man. Like, there's a whole community of freaking roofers out there, folks. We work for them. I work with them every single day. But again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us here. It's the Patrick Carr Show. We're going to make this one entertaining for us. If you haven't already and you find some value in what we do, you can follow us on Instagram, follow us over there, become a subscriber, or go to thepatrickcarrshow.com, and you can go ahead and support what we're trying to do. We love it. We do it for the fun of it. There is no money in this for us, and we just want to support the local community and bring you some entertaining news. Today, we got a great lineup for you. I don't care if you're coming to us from Huntsville, Alabama, or you're coming to us in Florida. We're going to have some great stories. But the first one, I do want to talk about the state of Florida. We were supposed to have Jay Collins come in here just today for a talk with us here on the show. For those of you who don't know, Jay Collins is the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Florida. And unfortunately, he was not able to make it. And I was a little bit confused, but not surprised after hearing why. Last night, there was a Republican debate hosted by Patrick Bet-David in South Florida of the PBD podcast. And there was one person who was noticeably absent from the debate. Name is Byron Donalds. He is the front runner to become the next governor of Florida. And he was the only one to skip this entire thing. It was touted as the future of Florida. And it was on YouTube. So there's no network that covered this entire thing. 3 rivals actually did show up. My favorite, Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins, Investor James Fishback, and former House Speaker Paul Renner. Donald's reason for not participating, everybody, and I quote here, no participation trophies in politics, end quote. Backed by the state GOP saying he's the only one that has a 10-10-10 bar. Basically, it means like you have 10% of the vote. I think it's $10 million and something else, all right? I'll have to go back and look at what it is. I want to tell you this. Big mistake, in my opinion, by Byron Donalds, because the 3 guys that I saw up there last night that I was watching, they're players. These guys actually care about the state of Florida. I think that they want to do great things for the state of Florida, and they each have a different approach to going about doing it. But just because you have, let's just say some of the heavy hitters around nationally supporting your campaign does not mean you get the chance just to not step on the stage and debate everyone. If you're the front runner, it means you need to get out there. And if you need to step on the throat of your opponents. And that's what Byron Donalds had a chance to do last night. He had a chance early to say, hey, listen, I am the man around here and nobody else better screw with me. But instead, he looked weak. And now I've been critical of Donalds on this show. And here's the reason why. I think that the man genuinely has some conservative values and has done some good things for the state. But I think he's uncomfortable with having to be a DeSantis conservative or a like Donald Trump kind of guy. In other words, there are some people, look at it this way. There are some people that are peacetime leaders and wartime leaders. DeSantis is a wartime leader. I'll tell you another one that is a George Bush after 9/11, wartime leader. They're kind of useless during peace times. They're not those kind of guys. But Byron Donalds seems like a peacetime type of leader. And that's what worries me about him. There was a segment of last night's debate where Jay Collins made a beautiful point. He said, rewind back to, let's say, the pandemic that we had. Do you believe that Byron Donalds would have given us the same Florida that Ron DeSantis did, or would he have caved to national pressure? And I thought to myself, he would have caved. That's what I thought. And I think a lot of Florida voters who have watched this guy understand that. Now, let me ask, this is why I go back to war and peacetime. Right now, we're in a peacetime leader for the state of Florida. And I think that Byron Donalds would probably do a decent job of being a peacetime leader. But there may come a time in the next however many years that you need the wartime leader. You need the person who's willing to hold the line. You need the guy who's going to say, no, I'm going to stand on my values, whether you like it or not. That's DeSantis. And so when I think about how people look at this state and how you look at this vote, I challenge you to look at this and go, great, things are good right now. They'll never stay that way. They will change. And so I look for wartime leaders. How are people going to react when things get tough? And when I look at someone like James Fishback, I got it. Renner, okay. But for me, it's Jay Collins. I think that guy has principled values that he stands on. Now, you may not agree with his values, but I'm going to tell you what, if you're a voter right now, I look at things this way. Give me the devil that I know. Even if you don't agree with his politics, you at least know where the man stands. What I can't deal with is somebody who flip-flops based on who their donor base is. When somebody flip-flops, or I feel like they're a straw man, when I feel like they're doing somebody else's bidding, I have a problem with that. And when I see that the quote from Byron Donalds is, no participation trophies in politics, it tells me you have a dangerous mindset, which is, you know what? I don't need to participate in this thing. And all that matters to me is what happens in the end at the race. Well, what determines, Byron, what happens at the end is what you participate in right now. And when I see that, I wanted to see this. And Patrick Bet-David did a good job. You know, lately the guy's been under some scrutiny. We can go into a whole other reason about why with his show. But frankly, he did a good job of moderating the entire thing. He allowed the candidates to ask each other questions, which I thought was a great idea. Why don't we do that in other debates? Allow them to actually ask each other and answer questions from one another. They all sat there and were like, where is Byron Donalds? The week after he announces that he's made $100 million already in this race, he's nowhere to be found. And yes, money goes a long ways, but money doesn't win championships. Go ask the New York Yankees, everybody, right? I mean, go ask people like that and say, why aren't they winning every year? Because there are going to be things that come up that you're going to have to address that money can't pay for. And I've thought as I've watched more and more Byron Donalds, I watch his stuff in the Senate or in the House. It's the House or Senate. Forgive me, everybody. When I watch him, he seems like a guy who's not comfortable playing this role of a wartime leader. He wants to be strong. He wants to be tough. He wants to be DeSantis, but he's not. And if I'm sitting there and I'm giving advice to Byron Donalds on what are you going to do? How do you become better in this election? What are you going to do to become more electable? What he would probably say to me is, listen, I'm number one by far right now, which I would say with him, every single candidate in recent history who has been number one at this point in the race is lost. So don't take that as something that means a damn thing right now. And this is all about the future of the state of Florida. And right now, I want everyone to think back to 2012. Republican, Democrat, I don't care what you are. I hate that crap of labels. But think back to 2012. Who had just won the presidential election? Barack Obama. And at that time, everybody was saying there may not be another Republican president. The coalition that had gathered around Barack Obama had become so strong that people felt like this man can't lose. I don't see how anybody in the Republican Party is going to be able to step up to this because of all the supporters that Barack Obama had. And then what happens? A loss, and then a win, and then it goes back and forth. All right. And then a loss again for the Democrats. It always is going to be that way. And so while you have a supermajority right now of Republicans that are in the House and in the Senate for Florida, do not think that the wartime is not coming around the corner. And you're going to need a wartime leader, not someone who is going to bow the knee to Washington, bow the knee to big donors. And I believe there's a reason big donors are giving big money to Byron Donalds. They smell some blood in the water. And for donors, that means you'll do what I need you to do. And when I don't see that going to some of these other candidates, I believe it says, we're not sure about where this guy stands. And for me, when a donor and a donor class is not sure about somebody, I tend to like them because it means there's going to be some kind of principled values that this person may be standing on. In my opinion, behind the scenes, this is one of the main reasons that someone like DeSantis didn't do well at the national level because he didn't play well with the big time donors. And in the state of Florida, where he runs this thing like he is the guy and ain't nobody going to say anything to him and people know it, you can't do that at the national level. And what people are seeing is that, for a long time here, Florida's not been touchable by big money, by big things like data centers, Meta, Amazon. These places haven't come to foothold in Florida for a long time. And when I see laws that are being passed by our Congress right now in Florida that have to do a lot with tech, it leads me to believe they're looking at the landscape coming around the corner too. Guys like Anthony Sabatini over in Lake County who are saying, no, you're not going to bring those AI data centers into our county because they see that the protections from the top are not going to be there that much longer if Byron Donalds becomes governor of the state of Florida. I'm not going to say I don't like the guy. I think he's done some fine things. I think he's got conservative values. But the race in Florida is a simple one. And this is what it comes down to, and all of us know it. Who's going to keep the state the most like DeSantis? Who's the most like DeSantis? That's really what people want. I mean, DeSantis won by millions and millions and millions of votes for a reason, because overall we live in a red state now, and that red state wants to keep it that way. And so now who's going to keep the state like that? And the person who can convince voters, I am DeSantis 2.0, is going to be the one that wins in our next governor's election. Byron Donalds missed a huge opportunity here. And when you do this, 1, 2, if it starts to stack up for Donalds, he's going to look like a straw man leader. He's going to look like a paper tiger. And those guys on the stage last night can smell the blood in the water. You could tell they were going after him, and they had some great points to make. You need to get out there, Donalds, and prove that you know what, you've got a backbone. And you can't do it by going on to Fox 35 News on a Zoom call and answering stupid questions like, tell me about your plan to improve the economy of Orlando. What would you do in a Byron Donalds first day in office? These softball, stupid questions that everybody asks with canned answers aren't the way to make it happen. Jay Collins, to his credit, listen, he's going to be on the show. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to ask some great questions to him. Anna Escamani, front runner for Democrat for Orlando mayor, coming on the show next week. Going to ask some tough questions to her. If you want to, come on this show and we'll ask you some real questions, Byron. We'll figure out exactly who you are. Let voters decide if you're the right choice for the state of Florida. You failed at that last night. There's no reason you shouldn't have been on that debate stage if you believe strongly in your values and what you bring to the table. Russell, I know you're over there, man. You got any comment on this? You don't have to. Talk to me. Doesn't Byron Donalds being Trump's guy kind of make him like effectively like the next governor, basically? That's so interesting you bring that up. In a normal race, in a normal state, I say absolutely. But because DeSantis has such a strong pull in the state of Florida, he has backed Jay Collins as his lieutenant governor. Not surprising, right? And I think that here in Florida, the DeSantis endorsement evens out the playing field. And I don't think that Floridians want a Donald Trump. What Floridians want is another DeSantis, because I think that Floridians look at DeSantis as kind of the not antithesis. It's not the enemy of Donald Trump, but it's kind of like DeSantis draws this line between Florida and everywhere else, and has said, "I don't care what you do nationally. You aren't doing that crap in Florida." And it seems that way to me. I think there's a feeling from Floridians in that way, Russell. And for me, I think it's more like who's going to be DeSantis, not who's going to be Trump. And when I see that all the normal people, like your Rick Scotts, are getting behind Byron Donalds, if I'm Byron Donalds, I don't want Rick Scott's endorsement. That guy is been in politics forever. He is a through and through paid for politician, grandstanding old school guy who nobody really has a clue what he's accomplished anywhere, but he has the name like a Buddy Dyer or a Dimmings locally here in Central Florida.
But doesn't a Scott endorsement do better? Because, Floridians can make the argument that Florida's economy was thriving under Scott.
Yeah, good point. Here's what I think. Solid point. That's why, Russell, good to have you back, brother. Here's what I think Floridians are looking at. I think Floridians are looking at the right now, which is good economy. I like the direction of our state. We seem to be a state nobody wants to F with. In other words, you don't see people going, well, we'll do it. Florida will be where we do this. No, it's kind of like you don't come to Florida and do this crap. And if you try to pass something and we don't like it, we'll find a way that our governor will protect our rights over here. And I think that people are not looking at Rick Scott anymore as the guy who was the economy guy. I think he really hurt himself with the Kanye West thing in Tampa the last couple of weeks. That grandstanding to not allow Kanye West to come in or to try to petition for Kanye West to not perform in Tampa. Did you see this? Mm-hmm. Terrible. I mean, just a terrible stance to make. And it screamed desperation to me for Rick Scott to be relevant. I think he was trying to be relevant in a time where he doesn't understand what relevance is. He doesn't understand how to get his message across anymore on social media or on, the new platforms that we have. That was a terrible move. And I think that voters right now are looking at the now of DeSantis and saying, I don't want this run to stop. Keep the run going. And I don't. Yeah. And I think that what people want is they want the DeSantis here so that no matter what happens, again, I want a wartime guy, right? Because let's just say, I don't know. Let's say it's a J.D. Vance against a Bernie Sanders and what's their name? The one from New York, the socialist. I don't know. Let's say Mandami or ACO, Alexandria Cortez, AOC. There we go. So let's say it's a Bernie Sanders and AOC ticket, and that goes against something like I don't know, J.D. Vance and DeSantis on the other side. And the economy tanks in the next year, and AOC and Bernie win. You better have a wartime governor in Florida ready to fight back against what's coming. And that's what I think people want. If you want to safeguard Florida for what could happen in the next election, you need a wartime general to step in there. Right now, that person to me is Jay Collins. Green Beret, no BS. He tells what he thinks, and he doesn't sit there and make any apologies for it. Byron Donalds is getting big donations from the national level, which tells me you're going to have to pay debts to the national level. And in a world where, let's say stuff like, whether I agree with it or not, data centers have been a popular thing, Russell, I believe that he's one of the only ones that is taking money from the big meta organizations and is not pushing back against these data centers. Now, I've got my own separate opinions about that, okay? I think you're fighting a losing battle in Florida by not having these things come here. I think you do it in a better way of regulating data centers rather than saying no to them. Because let's be very frank, everyone. We aren't going to stop using Claude, and we're not stopping using our AI everywhere. So what are you going to do? Just say no to progress here in Florida? As of right now, that's the only option that we got. So eventually, the state of Florida has to cave And right now it's a great talking point. But what none of these politicians are talking about is, hold on, how are we going to remain efficient if we don't have data centers to be able to do what we need? And people will say, well, we'll build them somewhere else. We got to run fiber optics, everybody. The reason they're fast is because they're local. Eatonville down the street from us has that big data center along I-4. It's got a pretty building. The reason they're doing it locally is because you need to run fiber optics in order to make it work. Now, if you want to build in Mississippi and you want to run fiber optics all the way to Florida, that's not efficient right there. But if you want your AI to work, you want your Claude to give you what you want on Claude code or design, or you want ChatGPT to put that picture up there quickly, you need some way to make that happen. And we need servers which take water, need to be cooled, and they take electricity. So we can't, this hard line sounds great in an election right now, but there need to be solutions for the future of technology in Florida. I'm getting off track. It's back to say, what's going to happen when things aren't perfect? What's going to happen when you don't have a Republican in office at the top level? We need a wartime general ready to step in here. We don't need a peacetime guy, because the days of peace are here now. I want to prepare for what the future looks like for Florida to make sure that our jobs, our interests, our values are protected here. Anything else you got? Great questions there, Russell. Good to have you back, brother. Missy Anthony, it's good to have Russell back. It's been too long. For those of you who don't know, Russell's the vice president of Blue Collar Media Group. He's a badass. All right. He's a great dude, man. Been with me for a long time. So consider him like family. He's just a great guy. Story number 2, I'm bringing you all today. Now, this one, again, I've got to call out once again, the city of Orlando. Does me no good to do this, everyone, to keep on doing it. But when they mislead us, we have to call a spade a spade. Now, looks like just yesterday, we have a report that is coming out that says this: a record 72.2 million Americans are going to be traveling on July 4th. Sounds great, doesn't it? And in fact, get this, Orlando, based on flight data, rental car data, is going to be the number 2 busiest destination in the country. Sounds great. Orlando's doing awesome. But it's not the case, everyone. You see, Orlando, as always, makes the headlines, doesn't it? Orlando is the place where everybody is going because they are flying into MCO, but Orlando is not where the money is going. See, people get off at MCO and they get on one of those toll roads, which, by the way, prices went up on toll roads 2 days ago, thanks to the state of Florida. So it's costing you more to drive on those, effective immediately. But where do they go? You think they're going to downtown Orlando Historic District? Are they going downtown to visit a place and maybe see some buildings? They're making a bus line, literally the Disney Express, down a road and right into Lake Buena Vista, which is not Orlando, everyone. They're not visiting Orlando. They're not even visiting surrounding counties of Orlando. They're going to SeaWorld, Epic Universe, and they're going to Disney. And that is where people are visiting. Both are their own municipalities inside Central Florida's tourism oversight district, the old Reedy Creek. Universal and SeaWorld are an unincorporated Orange County. None of it is in the city limits of Orlando. The dollars flow to the parks, the dollars go to iDrive, and downtown and the city of Orlando keep losing small businesses. But meanwhile, leaders will sit there and tout the numbers of Orlando tourism. Yay. How many of you small businesses out there are expecting the big rush of tourism this weekend? Nobody. 0 people. Because unless you're in the Disney bubble, you're not going to get anything. How sick are we of these, our politicians, the people who do our news stations, our local and traditional, what I might call traditional or traditional news in Orlando. They run these stories like Orlando and Central Florida are interchangeable, and that somehow when you read these stories that Orlando is getting all this tourism, that Orlando has record number of tourists, that you're supposed to believe that we're doing well here. No, we're not, because none of that money is coming to Orlando. And I want to go back to my first job, everyone. If you don't know this about me, my first job, real job here in Orlando, what brought me here was I was going to be a concierge, okay? I had this big dream after Ocean's 11, George Clooney, Brad Pitt movie. I was going to run hotels for a living. And so I thought, boy, I'm going to come here and I'm going to go to work for Marriott. And I was a concierge at Marriott. It was one of my favorite jobs I've had of all time, Russell. We talked about it. I loved being there. It was like you sit there, and you may not know this about me, y'all, but I really got a kick out of like helping people with their vacations and just talking to families every day. You couldn't make enough of a living, but boy, did I love that job. And one of the things I was always very interested in when I first started it is I would ask other concierge, well, where should I send people for dinner? Where should I send people if they want to go to a show when they ask me? Never. 0 times do you recommend going to downtown Orlando back then. Now, you tell them to steer away from downtown Orlando. I was talking with a friend of mine who's a concierge at the World Center, Marriott World Center, and he's like, I tell them to don't go past Kirkman Road. You have no need to go any further east than that. Stay in the attractions area. It's no longer like, oh, you could go to a couple places over there. It's stay away from it because Disney parks want to keep you in the bubble. The people that work for the hotels want to keep you in the bubble. And meanwhile, all of us who live in Orlando, we're the ones who feel the real sting of small businesses not getting support, a downtown that is unsafe. You have district leaders who are, in my opinion, hiding numbers from us. And for me, it's so frustrating to continue to see these stories that it's just like we're supposed to be idiots. It's like people think we're dumb. When is someone going to call out leaders and go, no, Orlando is not doing good. Open your eyes. Go drive down I-4, look to your left and to your right before you get to the Kia Center and start looking at the buildings that are there. They have like the dirt and they're like coming down the walls. They look old. When's the last time you saw a new building going up around downtown Orlando? I'll wait. Yeah, Russell's yawning because he's like, I don't fucking know. Because no one knows. Come on, y'all. And these stories are so disingenuous to Central Florida. Stop using Orlando. It is not Orlando people are coming to. They're coming to attractions. Get it right so that we can begin to hold leaders accountable for the real facts in Orlando, not the BS that some Newsweek or something like that wants to throw together. And then we tout those numbers for our leaders as, look how great it is. It's like we're living in some kind of dystopian thing. The leaders tell us, look, the shelves are packed with food. And then you walk into a grocery store and it's like nothing there. It's like, I don't think they are. No, look, we have all this tourism. I'm not seeing any of it. No, look, you're making money. I'm not making money. My doors are closing. Oh, well, not our fault. There was a lot of tourism. Well, there wasn't because I'm in downtown and no one comes down here except for people that we never come to our business. Well, you know what? We're just going to keep on saying everything's good. That's how business owners feel in Orlando. And it's about time that someone just calls it out. And stories like this are my ability to do so. Any thoughts on that one?
So downtown doesn't benefit from like the influx of people that are moving over to Mills?
So I think what's happening is from the tourism side is where I'm speaking. Mm-hmm. I look at this and yes, what's happening right now is we're seeing a migration from downtown into the Mills district over there, like that Milk district as I used to, the whole area. Cool. All right. But you take downtown or Mills, both of them are not seeing any tourism. And this particular study was talking about we're going to have record number of second most populous or the second most popular destination in America this weekend is going to be Orlando. People flying into MCO. So you're saying iDrive doesn't count? Doesn't count as Orlando. The city of Orlando, no. It's not. That's where, again, there's a distinction. Orange County, I can go with that. But when I see stories like this, Russell, that's what frustrates me because it hides the deficiencies of Orlando. It hides those city commissioners behind their numbers. And those city commissioners get to go, look how great of a job I've done because look at all the tourism coming here. Look at all the money we're taking in right now as a city. No. Orange County, I get. But the city of Orlando is sitting there and it's just like fluttering. It's just like you can't get it out of first gear. It's just sitting there. Meanwhile, Tampa. Have you been to Jacksonville lately? Holy crap. Jacksonville used to be the armpit of America. Jacksonville now, amazing. It's got a vibrant nightlife. It's got a mayor who promotes that stuff, promotes events. There aren't events downtown anymore. There aren't events surrounding downtown. Yeah, sure, go to Paramore and host yourself an event. You're not going to happen because no one wants to go there and host an event. Why? I want you to think about this. This is District 5, all right? I think her name is Shan Rose, who runs District 5, which is that area. For those of you who are not familiar with Orlando, District 5 is a rough area of Orlando. There ain't no doubt about it. After I got done doing all the concierge work, I used to sell security contracts. We met with the company yesterday, right? Kind of full circle. We'd have GLOS officers down there in Paramore, walking apartment complexes. And as a 27, 28-year-old guy, I was down there walking these streets with these guys and their G license, selling security contracts, these neighborhoods. It's a rough area. I remember going down there. I was a little nervous. But if you're in Orlando, think about how disappointing that is. 1 second. You are sandwiched between the largest tourist destination in the world and the largest university in the country. Right in between that is the city of Orlando and all of our districts. It's literally almost exactly in between. And yet you have places like Paramore and Pine Hills, cities like the city of Orlando itself and surrounding, that can't get their crap together. You can help these areas grow. District 5 is right there between like the Kia Center and where the Orlando City Soccer Stadium is. You know how much money is coming in there every single day, or not day, but every week when it comes to games? Let's get them things moving here. Let's start to say, hey, listen, we're going to stop with the broken windows theory, and we're going to say we're going to fix things around here as a city. And until you do that, until we take pride in our city again, nothing's going to change. And so tourism dollars are not coming from Lake Buena Vista back into Orlando because there's nobody who wants to send people there back into our city. And that frustrates me, Russell. Because you go walk over there, and I mean this. Go to Paramore, for instance. It's a rough area. It's a very rough area. Now, there are two ways of thinking about it. I'm on a roll right now, so I'm going to keep going. All right. There are two ways of thinking about how you approach, whether it be policing or leadership in that area. There's a victim mentality, and then there's an assertive mentality. Victim mentality is these people over there are victims of their circumstance. They're victims of where they were born, victims of they didn't have enough money, victims of everything. And it pisses me off because you're not a victim, okay? And if you treat people that way, which in my opinion our leadership has, as, oh, you're a victim of a circumstance, and therefore here's how we're going to help you. You don't need that. What people want to make something of themselves. And if you give them an opportunity and an avenue to do so, in my opinion, they will. If you give someone something to take pride in, they will. Now, am I saying there's not people over there that are not drugs and problems? And they have, of course, I'm not blanket statements here. But I am saying that as leadership, I believe we have failed that area of Orlando. Oh, you don't know anything about it, Pat. Why? Why? Color of my skin? Give me a break. All right. Let me tell you, I grew up in a mobile home. I don't give a about my skin. What I do know is how I like to treat people. And in my opinion, we can do better in that area. And we should do better. And leaders of each district should do better so that individuals understand that we're not winning in Orlando right now. The thought that we are just everything's good in Orlando, why 16 businesses from downtown in District 4, hey, Patty Sheehan, why 16 people, 16 small businesses, 2.5 every single month are leaving downtown Orlando, and that number is growing. And to pretend like everything is going well, what you're doing is a disservice to the small business owners that are there. And I get it. You're a lame duck just like Dyer because you got nothing to lose. But as we go into July 4th, I'm telling you, the freedoms of this country are a freedom to go out and make something of yourself. And as leaders, you got to shoot people straight about where we're at so that people know what they need to do to get going. People want to win. We're not winning in Orlando. Let's go. Third story I got, everybody, for you as I calm down here. Get me talking about Orlando. It does it every time to me, Russell. I get a little worked up. I do. I just want better for this. Nah, I'm stopping. Because the next story, man, I was shocked at. Everyone's heard of the NIL, right? Everyone's heard of how the NIL has affected college football. For those of you who are not familiar, name and likeness. What is it? Name, image, likeness. NIL has reached college football. meaning that college players are getting paid. Now, we can make a debate on that, and that's a debate for another day, but I'm telling you, NIL has officially reached the high school game. And I'm not talking about for players, everybody. I'm talking about for high school coaches. Now, for many of you, you may be familiar if you keep up with high school sports for what is SB 178, which went into effect 2 days ago on July the 1st. It is the Teddy Bridgewater Act. You heard about this, Russell? Many people haven't. This is law right now in the state of Florida. Okay.
Teddy Bridgewater, the coach that got in trouble for helping kids out?
Boom.
Yeah.
Yep. You got it. Okay. It's named for Teddy Bridgewater, suspended last year from his volunteer job at Miami Northwestern after posting he spent $6,000 some weeks on meals and rides, plus $23,500 on camp and apparel. This is Teddy Bridgewater. He's got a little money. He's giving back to the kids. He's paying for that stuff. And he got suspended for doing it because you're not allowed to do that at that time in the state of Florida. So what happened is you had this new law that takes into effect, SB 178, saying that coaches can now spend $15,000 on their team for things like food or, team events type of thing. You can't use it to recruit players. And I'm like, okay, I kind of get that. I think it's a slippery slope because I thought to myself, well, now that you've opened up 15,000, 2 years from now, it'll be 50. In 4 years, it'll be 100. And then it'll just be whatever personal money the coach wants to give. Well, actually, it gets a little bit dicier than that immediately right now. It goes further. This is SB 538. Boosters can now fund a coach's salary up to the highest paid administrator in the district. So the football coach at a wealthy school can pull in real money while the volleyball coach of the same school gets absolutely nothing. Let's just say you have two coaches facing off against each other on Friday night. One is in a wealthy school, and they're getting paid a lot of money. The other one, they got nothing. So you know what? He's getting paid what a teacher's salary is right there. So, you know what? You can't recruit players, but where do you think great coaches are going to want to coach if they know that they can get the highest salary that an administrator in that county can be paid? And it doesn't stop there, Russell. They can take money from boosters to increase their salary, personal money from boosters. The recruiting ban is on paper, sure. The question is, how long before personal funds and supplemental pay start doing the work for pay to play in this state? So if I'm a coach and I'm great at what I do, and I'm sitting there at give me a school around here, like the good one, like we could like Lake Brantley's right here. Okay, Lake Brantley's got some money next to us, but then you've got Windermere Prep's a good one. What school maybe doesn't have a lot of money? All right, doesn't have as much money. All right, I'm a great coach. Do I want? And I'm making $65,000 a year, and I'm teaching history and at Edgewater, but I'm the football coach. Whatever. Do I want to go to Windermere Prep, or do I want to go to Lake Brantley, where they're looking at me and going, hey, we're going to pay you the highest salary of any administrator in our county, and our boosters are going to bump that up for you. You'll be making $250,000 to bring state championships over here. See you later, Edgewater. I'm going over to Lake Brantley, right? Now, I'm not directly recruiting athletes, but if I'm the 5-star that's sophomore year over at Edgewater and my coach leaves, I'm doing everything. I will move my house to make sure that I'm going to Lake Brantley. That is recruiting at the high school level without putting the money into the athlete's pocket. In addition to that, you're going to see huge disparities in coaching between a good coach in volleyball and a great coach or a good coach in football. Where is the booster money going to go? Where are they going to put the funds from the school? They're going to put them in the pockets of coaches where people are showing up to the games. And I'm not saying that's not fair, but I am saying you want a way to kill culture inside schools? You want a way to do that? Imagine being the boys soccer coach. I mean, you're making $60,000, you're making, $50,000 a year as a salary right now. And the classroom next to you, the guy's making $250,000 a year, driving up in his brand new Tahoe, brand new house. He's doing the same job you are. All it is you're allowed to go to the highest paid administrator in your district, meaning that in the state of Florida that they were saying about $150,000 a year immediately. So you can go from literally right now, and you know it's going to happen. I can't wait to see which coach is already getting the raise. I bet it's already like that has happened because boosters get involved. They're going to give them money. We don't want to lose our coach.
What's to stop like a good coach coming from like New York, coming into Florida, and then bring whatever top 5-star athlete from New York down into Florida with him?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing now. Zero. And I get what they're trying. This again is where you got some people who don't understand how athletics work, or they do and didn't care, or they do and wanted to see money enter into the high school game. Folks, go look it up. It's Senate Bill 538. We had already Senate Bill 178. Senate Bill 538. And I think about my school, Armwood High School. I want to get Evan on here, head coach over there. Evan, we know. Listen, if you went to Armwood, folks, it's I-4 high. When you're on your way from Orlando to Tampa, there's a high school. By the time you almost to Tampa, you look to your left, that's Armwood. There ain't a lot of money, all right? Like at all. At all. Evan ain't going to make a lot of money. I know what that man has sacrificed for his family. And shout out to him. State championships, #1 rankings, crushing it. All right. He was our quarterback when I was in high school. He's just a great man. I get emotional because I know what happened to him. I'm not going to go into it, but he was stripped of a state title. He never should have been stripped of. And it's a shame that he was. It was absolute BS. Really was. I hate it for him and his family. But just I remember one time he tells me this, it's probably 5-6 years ago, Russell, that on a Thursday night, he was out painting the lines for his field for Friday. Because he couldn't afford, his school couldn't, to have somebody paint the lines in the field. So you have your head coach of a state championship program out there doing it for the love of the freaking game and his kids. He's just a great man. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I bet I could check this. 100 Division I athletes in the last 10 years. I don't think that's an exaggeration. He has crushed it at Armwood, but they don't have the money. There's not a lot of money at Armwood. He's done it through discipline and doing things the right way. And now he's got to go compete against big time coaches with salaries and booster money. Man, tie your hands behind the guy's back. Good luck to, Oviedo High School. Good luck, bro. Where are you going to get that money from? You're going to see a consolidation right now of great coaches with schools like Lake Brantley that have big budgets to be able to do this stuff. And then you're going to see other schools that are going to suffer.
I think it's mostly just the public school athletics that are probably going to suffer. I mean, the disparity between, private
that's
is already like super big, but schools like Montverde, now they can just pay their coaches whatever on top of salaries that they're already getting.
Yep. That's good. I mean, this is where it's done. Like, in my opinion, we're done now. Coaches have entered into NIL in the state of Florida. We've gotten there. So cool. How much longer do we believe it's going to be before the students do? Well, first of all, they already are. We already know it. I mean, it was happening in college before people recognized it. It's happening in high school. We all know it's happening in high school. Heck, people, don't be so naive. I was just about to say it. Everyone remember LeBron pulled exactly what I was thinking. Remember that Hummer LeBron just happened to show up with senior year? No one questioned the damn thing, Russell. It was like, oh, LeBron's got a new Hummer. Okay. He's living in Akron, Ohio, driving an H1 Hummer or something. I mean, it was just ridiculous. So it's definitely happening. I have mixed feelings about this. I understand that coaches need to be paid more. And frankly, I think someone like, an Evan, who I know from Armwood, he deserves to get paid. However, though, we now have a situation where these high schools aren't universities. These are not universities, folks. They get paid based on the tax dollars of the surrounding properties. So if you don't have boosters and you don't have an area where you're making a lot of money off the taxes around the property taxes, how are you going to pay and compete with other coaches? And I think there are some people who are like, well, listen, this is now college. High schools become college. College has become the pros. The pros have become a circus. That's what we're looking at here. All right. pro football now, man, the NFL is much drama as it is ball. It's just entertainment. In a way, you follow this more than what I do, but in the games that I watch, the NFL seems like WWE to me sometimes. It seems scripted. It seems almost like we're watching a drama unfold. Like some of the coincidences that we have at the end of the year are just mind-blowing. Like the games that get played at the end of the year, it's just like, whoa. But it does seem to me like each one has just moved its way down a level into what it is. Sad or not, that's exactly where we're at right now. Our last story of the day, I got to have some fun with this one, Russell. As you all know, we've got July 4th coming up tomorrow. I may just go ahead and throw this one out there on July 4th to let you all know and debate it. I was looking at this. I was like, all right, what are the best renditions of the old Star Spangled Banner? Banner? What are the best renditions of the Star Spangled Banner? And I started to do my top 5 list, and it was a little bit more difficult than what I thought it was going to be. Now, this is up for debate, everybody, but I want to bring you through the top 5 national anthems, in my opinion, of all time. Zero research was done. Let's start it off. Now, it starts at number 5, Max von Essen. This is in 2001. You've never heard of this one, but go watch it. It's because of the time. It was a 2001. It was the first national anthem sung in New York post 9/11. And so you've got it in Yankee Stadium. I believe it was on the 13th. And you've got the New York City Fire Commissioner, and then this guy is his son. So he accompanies his son out there behind home plate. Yankee Stadium goes crazy. It's all about the timing for me on this one. It was right after 9/11 in Yankee Stadium. A beautiful rendition if you haven't had the opportunity to listen to it. 2013, after that Boston Marathon bombing, we have the national anthem at the Bruins game. And this is the one where the gentleman starts to sing, and then he lets the crowd finish it. And this Boston crowd just belts it out, and the guy only gets like one line out before the crowd just takes over throughout it. Number 3 is not a national anthem, everybody. It's God Bless America. Pia Toscano, all right? This happens back, I want to say it's in Dallas. Let's see here. Yep, it was in, let's see, American Rodeo. It was in the American Rodeo in 2022. And you can kind of tell people don't know who she is. She's of Hispanic descent at a rodeo in Dallas. It kind of seemed like people weren't really sure about her at first, but then she just belts out God Bless America. If you get a chance, go listen to it in your freaking car right now. Pia Toscano, God Bless America. It'll move you to your soul. Number 2, I'm going to shock some people here. I know it. You're not expecting me to say it. Whitney Houston, Super Bowl, 1991 Tampa. The standard that has been compared against for all time. It is without a doubt the standard that national anthems are compared to. That's not number 1 to me. Number 1 is Chris Stapleton, Super Bowl in 2023. He comes out there. The man hardly moves for the song. He's just strumming that guitar, and his voice, literally, I remember watching it. Players and coaches are in tears watching this go down and listening to this go down. It was such a moving rendition. And I challenge people as you listen, okay, Patrick, you're wrong, whatever else. Cool. Here's the bigger picture. Take a minute this coming next 3 days. Go listen to your favorite rendition of the national anthem or God Bless America. Take a few minutes and cherish where we live here. Cherish the freedoms that we have. I get the chance to sit up here on a stupid mic and be able to talk to you for free without any repercussion of what's going to happen when I walk out that door. To take that for granted is such an oversight of the privileges that we have in this country because of brave people that have died to give us that opportunity. And you may disagree with, what we celebrate or if America has always been good. But what I can promise you is that we're overwhelmingly the best damn country that there's ever been. And we can improve and we can get better. But when I listen to any of these renditions right here, I'm reminded of how proud I am to be an American and why I hope that you are too as we celebrate 250 years of this great country. Go listen to one. You'll feel better afterwards. Hopefully it's warm and sunny where you are. Go watch some people eat some hot dogs this weekend. Spend some time with your family. Drink some American beer like Coors Light and not Bud Light, and make yourself actually have a good time. I'll be working. So, shoot me a message or something, and I'll be here doing what I love. You do what you love. God bless America. Happy birthday to the United States. Let's go, everybody. We'll see you back here on Monday. Have a great 4th ahead.